Like everyone else that's lived any amount of years on this earth, I've made mistakes. And I want to tell you about one of those mistakes today. Growing up, my brother Sammy, a year older than me, just bigger, stronger, matured faster, hit puberty well before I did. Was a guy that most people didn't mess with. He loved to work out, and kind of his body was his temple. And I think him being strong physically, maybe it was a way for him to also feel better about himself with things he was struggling with on the inside as well. So, love to work out. I'm very driven to do that. And I didn't really start working out until I got into college. But regardless, he just had a different build than me, more of a shorter, stocky type of build, and putting on muscle for him was very easy. And I felt the brunt of a lot of his strength throughout the years. Wrestling with him was not much fun. He always wanted to arm wrestle me. He just wanted to show his dominance over me. Hey, come arm wrestle me. And we would arm wrestle, and of course, he would beat me easily. He would toy around with me most of the time. Fast forward a number of years. I can't be sure what the year was, but my brother Sammy struggled with depression, and it was after one of his suicide attempts where he was hospitalized for some time. And I was back in town from Chicago. I'd already moved away. I was back in town from Chicago visiting, and I see him for the first time in a while. And he had lost a lot of weight. Being in the hospital, going through what he had gone through, he had lost a lot of weight, a lot of strength. And I see my brother walk in, and I almost didn't recognize him. It just was, 30, 40 pounds lighter than what I was used to seeing him. And for whatever reason, in that moment, I saw an opportunity. I saw an opportunity to perhaps finally beat my brother in arm wrestling. And I challenged him to arm wrestle. And I had been working out for a good long time at that time. So I was stronger than I used to be, and he obviously was weaker than he used to be. So it was more of a fair fight, I guess, but it really wasn't. I won that arm wrestling contest, and it's the one victory I've had in life that I regret the most. I guess I thought it would feel good, but man, it was just such a hollow victory. Afterwards, I just could feel, more energy go out of my brother. I felt, that's the one thing that he kind of stuck his claim to on this earth, was that he was strong physically. And I proved him to be otherwise in that moment. And it's something I've dealt with guilt-wise, regret-wise. I'm not even sure why I'm sharing this story with you today. Maybe it's more for me than it is for anyone else. But I think we have to be careful about the battles we choose to go into, and why we go into them. I was going into a battle with him that I was taking advantage of him in a vulnerable situation, maybe to make myself feel better. And what I was doing was making him feel a whole lot worse, and it didn't make me feel any better at all. In fact, it made me feel worse. So lesson learned. I've been able to take that mistake and learn from it, and that's what life is about, is that we're going to make mistakes. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to have regrets from those mistakes, more than likely. But the key thing is can we learn from it? Can we learn from it and grow, right? Because that's how we grow. We make mistakes, we fail, and that's where we learn and hopefully grow and get better as a result of those. So yes, very flawed, have failed a lot, have made tons of mistakes, but I try my best to learn from them, so don't make them again, or hopefully just a much wiser moving forward. Choose your battles wisely. Seek to love others, care for others think about where others are at, and be mindful of that as you go throughout this week. Take care.